The string is the
Mm-hmm.
the variables in inverted commas. You have the boolean,
Okay.
which is yes or no or true or false. Then we have
Yeah.
the float which has to do with decimals, and integers which has to do with whole numbers.
Whole numbers.
Yes.
Okay. 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 That's fine. That's fine. So I think that is clear. Um, let's quick start what we will be doing today. So now I think for now we already know what variable simply means. So in terms of naming a variable, what is the appropriate way in naming a variable? So we say that naming convention. So the name we use is naming convention. So how do we label our variables in a way that follows the Python convention? So I want us to quickly look at that. Then we can continue with what we will do today. Okay. So I'm using the shell, the Python shell. So I'll type my PowerShell. Okay, so now I type Python to move to the interpreter mode. Okay, so now we look at how to name a variable, or we call it naming convention. Okay, so I'll put a comment. Now, anytime you see this comment, when you see the hashtag in this comment, it means that whatever code that you write or whatever script that will follow after the hashtag like this, Python interpreter will ignore it. Okay, so we normally use the term comment. So this like comment, just a reference to maybe yourself or anybody who will be reading your script. So now I'm just typing how to name a variable. So it means that when I hit enter, nothing will happen. It sees that as a comment. Okay. Okay, so when I hit this, you can see. So the first rule that we want to know is that we cannot start naming a variable with an integer in front, or let's say a number in front. So we can't start a variable naming with a number in front. So that is the first thing. So if I start a number in front, like 8, and then followed by name, or 8, okay, let's say 2 followed by number, okay, and then maybe I'll assign it to 1. Now, once I hit enter like this, you can see there's an error. And then what error do you see?
Invalid, invalid decimal literal.
But what is here?
A syntax error.
Okay, syntax error.
Syntax error. And when we started, I made mention of syntax. I hope you remember. What does it syntax?
The rules governing the language for the Python or any other.
Yeah, the rule that's governing there. So we need to follow the rule. So one of the rules is that you cannot start naming a variable with a number in front. Okay, so now you can see a syntax error. Syntax error simply means that we didn't follow the right convention. So form by syntax error. So anytime you see syntax, it means that it got to do with the programming. Maybe you got to do something which is not allowed in Python. So now it means that syntax error. And then you can see where it's pointing. Can you see the small arrow?
Yes, please.
Yeah, the small arrow is pointing on the 2, signaling you that the error is this is where the error is coming from. Okay, and then it's also letting us know that it's decimal what literal. So decimal literal tells us that this is what we are talking about. The error is not from the value, but error is from what? The variable. So that is the first rule. Okay. The next rule also states that we cannot start naming a variable with special characters or special character. So for instance, if I start naming a variable with maybe $sign, so $sign my name, okay, and assign to, let's say, Ken. So once I hit enter, you see that it throws an error. And what is the error?
Syntax error, invalid syntax.
Invalid syntax. Okay. So that is, we did not follow the right rule. So now you can see that the small arrow is pointing on what? The $sign, telling us that this is where the error is coming from. So now we know the 2 rule. We can start naming a variable with what? A number in front. And we can also name a variable with what? A $sign. So a $sign will be in front or at the back. You can bring it anywhere. The other one says that not in front. It means that we can add number somewhere, but it shouldn't be in front. But this one says that you cannot add what? A $sign, a special character in what? A variable name. So for instance, let's change the $sign to the back. So now you can see here, I just place it at the back of the name and hit it. And you could see that we had the same error. Now let's put it inside maybe name. So here I'll remove the one at the back. And let's see. You could see the same. So it means that you can't name a variable with a special character. The special character can be at percentage and all those things, and all that special characters. So you can add a special character in your variable naming. Okay, so these are the rules. So we now know the first rule and then the second rule. Now let's move on to the third one. We cannot also use hyphen in variable naming. So for instance, I can say first hyphen name. Then I will assign it to, let's say, a string. Let it be empty string. Now here you could see, what do you see here?
Syntax error.
Syntax error. Okay, and then it's telling us something here. Now Python is suggesting something, maybe you want to equal to or instead of 2. So it's just thinking for us. It's just thinking for us, because when you see the equal, it could be once hyphen can be something. Maybe I wanted to use equal or something. So it's just thinking for us. So now you can see the arrow is on all of them, not just one. You can see that it started from the first letter to the last letter, telling us that maybe it's thinking that we want to either equal it, okay, or assign. That's what it's thinking. Okay, so we cannot use hyphen anywhere. The same time, we cannot use $sign anywhere. Okay, so now we know the don'ts. We can't start a variable naming with what? A number in front. We cannot also add a special character in variable naming. And then we can also use what? Hyphen in variable naming. The next one is we cannot also leave a space in variable naming. So for instance, see, first space name, and then I'll assign it to maybe empty string. So this 1, 2 is wrong. Then you can see that we have syntax error, say invalid syntax, meaning that you see where it's pointing, the name, because the name needs to join, you cannot leave a gap. So it's just pointing here, signaling you that you need to join the two together. Okay, so now we know the 4, that is for number in front, special character, hyphen, space. So you can't do the 3. Special characters, you can't add it anywhere. Hyphen, you can't add it anywhere. Okay, and then space, you can't add it anywhere. But a number should not be in front. Okay, so these are the 4. Now let's look at the do's. Now be able to check the don'ts. Let's look at the do's. What is appropriate? What can we do? If we are not doing this, what can we do? So the
Please,
first thing,
just a question. For the last of the convention, the fourth convention, which says we cannot leave a space. So it's something that we just accept that is a convention, right?
Yeah,
it's fine. That's a convention. But can you tell any reason why when you leave a space, it throws an error? Or it's a standard thing. It's a standard knowledge that you have to just pick.
Because it's we are talking about variable. Okay. It should be one word. Okay. The idea is it should be one word. So whatever that you are doing, it should be one word. So if I leave a space, you are trying to say that we are using 2 words, like first and then the name. So it will throw an error. So your variable naming should be one word.
Sure.
Okay. So that is the. Now let's look at the do's. Okay. So with the do's, this is what we need to do. Now if I'm naming a variable and I have maybe 2 words which I want to join them as one, because you cannot use 2 words for variable naming. Either you join them or you pick one. So I will see that first, then I can use underscore. first underscore name. This one is accepted. So it tells you that you are using two words, the first and then the name. So you are using the underscore to join them. So I can see the first name, and then I could assign it to maybe empty string. So once you run this, you could see that it did not throw any error. So this is accepted. This is the syntax. This is the correct syntax for naming a variable. Now, there's another way you can name it. So I can also start with first, the same way, first, and then the name, I will start with capital like this, which here you could see that we have this. So this one also is correct. Okay, so it means that first and the name. So the capital shows that we are starting with another what name. So first and the name. So this one, these tools are acceptable when you want to join, maybe use two words as one for a variable. But then, which one do you prefer? For me, the first one is better than this. Okay. Someone can also decide to name a variable here. Start with first as capital, and then this one as also capital, something like this. Now, this one will not throw an error, but it's not advisable to do this. Why? We always see that only class should start with capital letter name. So if I name a class name means you start with capital. So if you start a variable with capital, you are not wrong, but then the right standard you are not following. There is a standard, even though it's not, you are not violating the convention, but then the standard that you need to follow, you are not following that. You see that always a class name should start with capital. The rest should start with small letter. Okay, so to follow that, I will not do this. And then the second one is accepted, but then I think when you use the first one, it's very clear that first underscore name. Okay, so this one is accepted. You can also do this underscore, then you can even do underscore underscore or just one underscore. If you do underscore underscore like this, it's accepted. Or you can do just underscore, then first underscore name. It's also accepted. Okay, so you decide which one that you want. Okay,
So can I
so
come
but
in?
yeah.
So one of the rules for the convention, the don't that we started with, is that special characters are not allowed. I want to know, it doesn't mean the underscore is not a special character in Python.
No, underscore is not
Okay.
a special character.
Which other things
Yeah. So
of the
tomorrow.
source like underscore?
Yes, tomorrow. Yes. Okay. Okay. No
So
problem.
which other signal of you it will come in? Is underscore the only character which is not a special character in Python?
No, but we are saying underscore is the only special character.
I thought underscore looks more like a character. Or
No, underscore is not a character. When we are talking about characters like at, like hashtag, but you know that when you place hashtag in front, that will give you comments. You know that we are using hashtag for
sure.
comment, like percentage, like this. These are special character. Like this
Sure.
one, these are all special character. And Okay.
Okay.
So these are special characters. Okay. These ones are special characters. But hyphen is not, and then underscore is not a special character.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so we have this, so you could do this, but mostly the one with the hyphen, mostly you see them in classes. Okay, so when you are naming a variable in a class, we've not got into a class, but when you get to a class, you know that some of the variables have this. Okay, that is the class name. Okay, for instance, if I start with a class, I hope you remember the help, right?
Yes.
And then you remember the string yesterday. Like when you check the data type of uh, maybe this, it will give you what? A string class. I hope you remember. So we want to check a class. Now, when you check a class, you could see that it's starting with, do you see that this is a class definition? And the methods within the class is starting with underscore underscore. You could see here. So mostly all these underscores that you see here naming, we deal with what? Classes. So you see that most of them are here. So when you get to a class naming of a variable, you'll be seeing underscore a lot. Okay, underscore underscore or a single underscore in front of a variable. Okay, but for now, a normal variable naming, I would suggest you don't do with the underscore underscore. Okay, so when we move to the proper ones, you can look at that. When you get to classes, you can look at all these ones. Okay, so now at least we understand the two, and we know that we can use underscore underscore. So you can see some of them are here. Okay, I hope it's clear.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so another naming that we can do now, we know that we can start with underscore, and we can also have this, maybe number one. I want to say number, I can do number one like this. So it means that you cannot start a number in front, but you can start a number anywhere, but not in front. So if I say number one and then assign it to maybe one, okay, it's accepted. I can also say number underscore one, which is also accepted. Okay, so now I could say that two, which is also accepted. Okay, so you can add a number anywhere but not in front. That is it. So this one is accepted, but I always prefer number underscore one. Okay, but you can also choose to use this, that one is your own, what you think is better for you. Okay, so now we know this one, and then we also know with the hyphen. Okay, so when I'm naming a variable, you'll be seeing me using this one more often than any of them, the one with underscore. Okay, I hope it's clear.
Yeah.
So that's ends the convention. So at least once you have this in mind, the rest is okay. You can be naming your variables anyhow you want it. Okay, and you will not violate the rule that is covering the variable name. Okay, so now let's continue. Now we all gone through this already. The language. We yesterday we went through viewing the data type. But I think where we got to was here. I think assigning where we got to was the identity, where we were trying to get an understanding of the memory space, where each is occupying the same memory space. Okay, so where we got to that, the understanding wasn't clear. Okay, so I want us to just look at that, then we can move on to the other things that we were doing. Okay, so now I think yesterday we followed this. Let's still use this. So now there is the different here which we actually need to know. Now when it comes to a string, let's say for a string like so yesterday I used something like name. Okay, let me use something like maybe first underscore name. Okay, and then I assign it to Ken. Okay, and then I have the same one again, maybe last underscore name, and then I assign it to the same Ken. Okay, so when it comes to equality, we are looking at the sequence. So we look at the characters, equal, are they the same? Which that one we were not having any challenge. So if we see that first underscore name equal to last underscore name, okay, that probably should give us equal to. So when we do this, that should probably give us what? True, because the sequence is the same. Okay, the number of characters and they are all the same. So in the terms of equality, it's true. Now we look at the other side where we want to check the memory location. Okay, so we want to check the memory address that is assigned to both. Now when we check this and we see S, we realize that we had this as true. Okay, so now the difference here is that when it comes to a string, okay, so we see that for a string, the maximum. Now yesterday I told you about the 256. Okay, so the 256 is mostly for integer. Okay, the 256 is for integer. So is the integer that, look at the integer length, that is the 256. So if I have let's say -5 to, let's say, 256, okay, in between. So when it's within 256, the length of the integer is within this, and that should be true because it will assign, it will keep it in the cache, so it will assign the same memory location to that. Okay, so that is not for the string. Okay, so for the string, the maximum length for the string that will keep it true should be 20 characters. So if we are within the 20 characters, it should always be true. So it means that it will occupy the same memory space. Okay, so it should always give us true. So to check if it's within the same 20 characters, then that should be true. So if I have this one, then it's supposed to be true. So let's say here I just change this one. I just change this one to, let's say, sleep. Okay, that is the first name. The last, and the last name. So the last name. So if I have this, these are the first and the last. If I see first, well, let's see, first underscore name. Okay, first underscore name is this. So you see that it's true, because if we check the length, it's within. Okay, so to check the length, we use the length function, like length. Okay, and then check the length of last underscore name. That should give us 8. Okay, so in that case, it will still keep the same memory space. Okay, it should keep the same memory space. So assign the same memory space to that. Okay, so that is the difference. Okay, so if I have an integer, let's say an integer is supposed to be 256, that should be the length. Anything below 256, that should be true. So if you have anything between 256, that will be true. So if I have maybe 56 here, maybe number one, number, let's say, number underscore 3 is also assigned to, let's say, 56, and then number underscore 4 is also assigned to 56. Okay, now when we check the state, okay, I say number underscore 3, okay, is number underscore 4. Okay, that one is true because it's within the same, it's not up to no more than 256. Okay, so that's what I think the confusion came in, was the 256 actually got to do with the integer, not the string. So if I also want to concatenate, so for instance, even though we said that integer, a string should be, the maximum should be 20, and you want to maybe concatenate, let's say I have kin. I know kin plus kin should not give me, it should be 8, right? So if you are concatenating something here, in that case, it's not going to be what? It's not going to be true. So the moment you are concatenating, it doesn't apply to the default. That is one thing about this. So if, for instance, if I'm saying that first underscore 1, I'm just using that, okay, assigned to a variable here, let's say kin. Then I add, so this one, I believe when you see this, what comes in mind is, who can tell me? Or if not done that, when you see something like this, we use this sign for, you see, concatenation. Okay, it means that we are joining this string to another string. Okay, so we use the term concatenate. Concatenate simply means join. So I'm joining this. So if we are joining this and that one, even though it's not up to the number of characters, it should still be false. So for instance, if I here and I also see that it's still first underscore 2, and then I just assign it to the same thing. Okay, so that will be kin, and then concatenate 1. Okay, but we know that for equality should be the same. So we are not after the equality, so because it will be the same character. So where we are looking at is the,
Yes.
so if I start with s underscore 1, okay, and then I will do this. Sorry, I will do this, and I come to first underscore 2. Okay, here you could see that we have this, as you could see that we have this one here. This is, you can see that how this one look like. Okay, so I have my name King here, and then I have another name King here. So if I check the output here, let's see, I want to check the output here. So if I call first underscore name here, and I see that this is what I'm having. If I call first underscore 2, this is what I'm having. Okay, so now if I check the length of this, and I say first underscore 1, and I just place this one to the length function. So the length function will be length. Okay, so now here, if I check this one, you can see that here I'm getting the length is 5. So that's giving me the 5 as length. And if I check this one, the other one, which will be for the 2. Okay, so here will also give me the length of 5. So they are all within the same length of the character. Okay, but all that we want to look at is mostly if the same thing that I'm doing here, and I start with the first name. So instead of me repeating this one, we could also do that, assign the first one to the same. So in that case, we are saying that we are using the same memory address. So the first underscore 1, I'm using the same memory address for first underscore 2 because it's the same thing. So if it's the same thing that you are referring to, since the memory address, so if I assign first underscore 1 to first underscore 2, what it means is that even though that is the address, but that the contents of that address will be applied to that. Okay, so if that is the case, that one is also going to be true because you are dealing with the same words. You are dealing with the same. So here we see that have the an int which is assigned to 6. Okay, and then we see that ant alias is assigned to ant. It means that the memory of this, or the memory address of this, has been assigned to ant alias. So if I call ant alias, I should see the same address. Okay, so when you check the equal, that should be true because it's the same word, it's the same integer that is assigned, the same number that is assigned. So it will still be within what the 256. Okay, so that should be true. Okay, and another aspect is because we already know integer is immutable. So we are saying that integer is immutable, meaning that we cannot change its state, cannot change it or alter it. So that is what you see here, that we categorize most of the things that immutable and then mutable. And because this one is integers or numbers are all immutable, you cannot alter its state. That should be that it should be the same. Okay, but when they are within the 256, then that should lead us to true when we check the state. Now we could see that we have here a string is equal to another string, and then we already know a string what was there. So we could see that a string here was I love spam. Okay, and another string is also the same I love what spam. So when we check equality, the equality test quality of the value, but it gave us a true. Okay, because it's the same thing. And then but when we check for this, it's giving us what? False. So let's see if I want to check for the the length. Okay, so let's see that I love this. So I'll just save this one here. I love a string, and then I'll put for another. Okay. Now, if I check this, because we are going to check for the length, so I'll use the length function, and let's check for the length. So the length for a string, length for a string will give us 11. Okay, so definitely we know that another will also give us what? So another string should also give us
11.
11. So you can see that it's 11. And then we see that the minimum that we can keep for this. So if I come here and I check for the states, it should be the same. Okay. So if you come here and check for this, you see that what do we have there? It's false, right?
Which one?
Okay, false.
Yes,
Hello.
false. False, yes.
False. False.
Yeah.
So when you come here, because this one is the length that we are getting from there. So with this memory locations and the memory address system, all that we want to do is to be able to know exactly which of the space that is by default. Python will allow it to cache it. Okay, cache it means that keep it in memory. Okay, so they have a certain threshold that Python will be able to keep it in memory. So after that threshold, Python will not keep it in memory, so it will allow it to store it in another memory space. So that's basically how these ones are being done. Okay, so when you see all these ones, it's just for the storage aspect that we are talking about. So all these ones are just the data type storage, and then the storage mostly deal with the memory space location. Okay, now we look at here, look at this space. What that we are talking about here is the numeric types and then the integer type, which we've already talked about that. So for now, we already know how to declare an integer and then how to declare a float data type. So which we've gone through that. So now you know how you can assign, and then we know that the default for each one is 0. So if I call the default of each data type class is what? What is the default? Like if I call for default for int class will be what?
0.
0. And then if you call for the default for float, that will also be 0.
0.
Okay. That will also be 0. So we've also learned how to cast it, like change from one state to another. So if I have an integer here and then I want to change it to a float, now you know that you can use what it class to convert it, like a float to convert the integer to what a float. Okay, so now for integer, I don't know with the integer and the number, we don't have a type here. So now let's move on to, for the rest, those ones are the arithmetic operation, multiplications and stuff. You can add it. The one more thing that maybe I have to talk about is the sign. When we talk about module, what comes in mind?
Say again, please.
Module.
Modru.
Yes. Module.
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 I think you mentioned it the other day. Module.
Yes. And deal with. So we have the signs here. So you could see that we have this sign like multiplication sign. This one is for multiplication, right? We have this sign. This is for addition. We have subtraction. Okay. We have division. Okay. And then we have this, the percentage sign. This one we use it for modulo. Okay. So modulo simply means what? Remainder. Okay. So if I'm checking something here and I see 2 modulo 3, 2 modulo 3 tells me that if 3 people are sharing 2 items, each one, what will be the remainder? That's what it means. The modulo is all about remainder.
So
So
what's
if
the sign for the module?
we said,
What's the sign for it?
I'm saying the sign is this one, the percentage sign.
Percentage sign. Okay.
This modulo. Okay, so I'm saying that if 2 people, if 3 people are sharing 2 items, what will be the remainder? If 3 people are sharing 2 items, what will be the remainder?
Two are sharing 3, or 3 are sharing 2.
Say 2.
Half.
Like 3 are sharing 2
Half.
items. You said
Half.
I have 2 items, but these 3 people are sharing the 2 items. And we are saying that modulo is all about remainder. So I'm asking you that what will be the remainder?
There will be no remainder.
There will not be remainder. Okay, let's see. So what will be the remainder? The remainder will be 2 because no one will get anything.
But they can get
That then,
can they get
do you
half?
get
Half?
it?
They can get half. Half.
No. I hope you get it.
Sure.
Yeah, it's not up to for the sharing. So if I see 3 people are sharing, if 3 people, okay, if I see 2 people are sharing 3 items, what will be the remainder?
One.
Again.
Yeah, 1. Okay, 1 because each will get 1. Then it will remain what 1. So in modulo, anytime the modulo, the value that you are sharing is smaller than those sharing the item, you always, the remainder is the value. Do you get it?
Yeah.
So if the modulo, now if I'm having that 3 people sharing 2 items, but I already know that the 3 people are what higher than what the item that they are sharing. So definitely it's going to be what? So if I have, let's see, 5 items, and then you see that 5 items, 6 people are sharing 5 items. What will be the remainder?
5.
5, definitely 5, because no one will get anything. Okay, at least each one should get 1 before we think about, but no one will get anything. So we can't leave one. Do you get it? So in modulo, at least each one should get one before it can be shared. So if you get one person not getting anything, then it means that we can't share for now. That is modulo, and we use modulo a lot in calculation and in mostly logics and stuff. Okay, so that is modulo. So, and in operation here, as you see here, so we have addition, multiplication, subtraction, division, and modulo. And always division, the value of a division should always be in what? The value for a division will always be in
integer.
no. Will always be in floats. So if I say 2 divided by 2, it should be 2.0 because float always deal with a decimal. Okay, because definitely division, the probability you are going to get a decimal is high. Okay, so even if it's 2 and there's no remainder, you still keep the dot 0, and dot 0 is a float. Okay, so if you
what's
check
the difference between the modulo and the modulo focuses on the remainder.
Yeah, modulo focuses
And the
on the
division
remainder.
sign is just because it's the same like division to me.
No.
Okay,
Okay,
the
this is the
modulo will just tell
division.
you the remainder.
Yeah, modulo deal with the
So,
remainder.
so if we were to put the 5 divided by 6, like not the modulo, the division sign, can we
Yeah, that
try
will
that
be
one?
5
So now,
divided by
6.
6.
Uh-huh.
5 divided by 6.
So to
That
give
will
you
be decimal.
okay.
That will be the division it will go through. Do you get
Okay.
it? For
Okay.
modulo, it will not.
Okay. I get it.
So that is the modulo sign. So when we look at here, okay, and then I think yesterday too we went through the Boolean, right?
Yeah.
Hello. Yeah.
Yeah.
So for the Boolean, you've gotten the understanding of Boolean value, right? So we see that anything empty is what? False. So anything 0 is what? False. Okay. And then anything 1 and above is what? True. So that is all. So even if I have empty integer, empty string, empty, all empty lead to what?
False.
All empty lead to false. Yeah. And all 0 lead to what?
False.
False. Okay. And when it contains any item, it's what? True.
True.
1 and above is what? True. So that's what we went when it comes to the Boolean value. Okay, so we did a lot about Boolean. Then there's one thing when you look at the notes, you could see here we are saying that notes. Now you see that Boolean are implemented as what? A sub class of integer. If you check. Now let's look at here. You see Python support concepts of true like value for other types. For example, integers are considered what? False if their value is what? 0. Anything else is considered what? True. Okay, and the same also apply to what? The same apply to Boolean. Sorry, floats. Okay, now we can see that you can convert Boolean value to what? Integer using what? Int. So if I have a Boolean value, a Boolean values are what? True and what?
False.
False. So we are saying that we can convert a Boolean value to what? Integer. Okay, which case false is considered as what? 0, and then true is considered as what?
1.
1. So if we check this, and then we have int. So inside this int, and I place in true. I place in true here. You could see that the value is what? 1. And then if I come here and then I place in false, here you see that the value will be 0. Okay, so in the notes here we are saying that Booleans are implemented as what? A subclass of what? Integer. And also support what? A bunch of other operations that you might not expected, such as what? Exponential. Okay, and then you can also type things like true raised to the power false, that is 2 times raised to the power false, and get the results as what? 1. Okay, you can also basically type and see this. So now I hope you understand this.
Which one?
What I just said. If you have a value like, let's say, now the first thing is, let's look at this. We are saying that Boolean are implemented as what? A subclass of integer. I believe now you understand what you've seen the classes. I said Python is all about object-oriented programming language. So now if we go to help, because when you check the type for integer, you realize that it gives us what? Class what? Like when we have number, and then we assign number to 1. Okay, and then we want to check the type. If I say type, and then I want to check this type, you see here it came as what? Class what?
Integer.
Integer. So it's a class integer, and we are saying that Boolean, okay, we're saying that Booleans are implemented as what? A subclass of what? Integer. So it means that integer is what? A parent class of what? Boolean.
Boolean.
Yeah. You know, when we were starting, I told you of Python is all about class. Okay. So all the variable is all about class. It's an object. Okay. They are all objects. So if we want to check the class, let's see, I want to check the class here, and I say help. And I know this one. I know this one is int, right? So if we check this, you could see that we have what? Class what?
Int.
Int as what? Object. If you can see here.
Yes.
That we say object-oriented programming language. So everything is object. Object means that you can create other objects from objects. Okay. So now you could see here we have what? Built-in what? Subclass. And what do you see here?
Boolean.
Boolean. So what are we are saying that Boolean is what? a subclass of what?
Int.
An integer. So boolean is also an integer. That's what we mean, because we know that integer is made up of what?
The whole numbers.
Whole number, which starts with and what? And
1 and
above.
0.
Okay. So yeah, 0 is whole number. 1 is whole number and above. So definitely a boolean is a subclass of what? Integer. I hope it's clear.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, so when you convert all those things, you see that this is a class. So now you can see that a class is having a different method. So this is a class, and this is another class. So the parent class is here, which is this, and this parent class is inheriting from. He said so. Boolean is inheriting from what? Integer class. Okay, so you can now do the conversion and everything, and you see. Okay, as you can see here, the boolean number integer here. So if I check the int of this number basis, you can see that this one will give us 4. Where as time goes, we will get into that. So for now, maybe you might not understand, so I don't want to go in. But what that I want to tell you is this one. Forget our methods. You don't know method. When you get there, maybe you come back here. But now my focus is Boolean value here is what? A subclass of what? Integer. I hope it's clear now.
Yeah, it's clear.
Okay. Okay, so we have that one. We went through that. Okay, so now we know about Boolean. Then we could see that we are saying that now what is you say that this one raised to the power f and get the value of what? 1. Okay, so what we are saying is that if I have false, sorry, true, okay, true star star, that is raised to the power. So if you want to raise the power, we use that. Okay, it's 2 star star false. Okay, it's 1. I hope you understand. Why are we getting 1? Why are we getting 1?
You said the star means raised to the power.
Yes, raised to the power. If I do 2 star star 3, should be what? What will be the answer?
6.
No, 2 star star 2 raised to the power 3. That's what it means.
8.
8. Okay.
8. Do you see here? So if you see true star star false is 1. Why? I believe you know that this one is also an integer. What is f simply means
1
what?
raised to the
True.
power 0, eh?
Yes, yes. This one is 1. Let's see, star star 0. And we know 1 raised to the power 0 is still what? It's still the same number.
Okay.
So if you have if I do this, like false F, false star star true, what will be the answer?
Zero.
It be what?
0 raised to the power 1. 0.
Yeah. So if you raise zero raise the power 1,000 is still zero.
Yeah.
Do you get it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then if you do four, let's say 4 star star is still false, is still what? 0. And then if I do true, let's say true star star true, that should be what?
1.
1. Okay. So I believe now you understand the principle. So Boolean is still we are dealing with integer, and then like we say that computing is all about what? Zeros and one, and that's why most of the information is stored in what? Binary. When I went to the class, I believe you saw the binary convention and everything, because if not gotten there, I didn't want to go into details about that, but just to get a basic understanding of what we are doing. Okay, so with this in mind, now anytime you hear about Boolean, you think in terms of what? Integer. Okay,
Integer.
and then your mind is all about what? The zeros and what? The one.
The ones.
So yeah. So now we've gotten the understanding of this. We'll look at Boolean type, and let's look at, now we see that in addition to Boolean type, Python also supports what we call bitwise Boolean operation, okay, on integer. Now this is what we use for logics, okay, because programming is all about logic. So how do my program have intelligence, or my program should be able to know that based on these conditions, if I'm not able to get these two conditions, then okay, so in programming we use this is the bitwise, okay. So for the normal program we use the end, okay. So you could see that these operations, as you see here, this is a bitwise operation. So if I have this ampersand sign n, like when you check on your keyboard, you see the 7, the one on top of the 7 on your keyboard. Yeah. Okay. On your keyboard, you see the 7 there. That one simply means end. Okay. And then this is what? Or. Okay, this is or. Or simply means, so the bitwise operation for or is this. Okay, on your keyboard, when you see the enter on top of the enter, when you will see that when you just shift that, that will give you this sign. Okay, and then the not. So the logical operation there, we have conditional logics, and then we have bitwise. Okay, so on conditional logic we use these ones, which is the and, or, and then not. And simply means that if I use and, it means that all condition must be true. If you use or, at least one condition must be what? True. That is all. And the not simply means, if I'm using not like this, it just means that opposite of true is not. Okay, opposite of that is what is not. That's what it means, that if I have true, I can negate it. Okay, I can negate it. So that is what it means. So if you like this, and then you see not true. Okay, so what it means is that you are trying to negate a true value. So now, if I change not true is false, and then if I say not false, not false will be what?
True.
True. Okay, and if I say not true, what will be the answer?
True.
Okay, true, because not true will take it to false, and not will bring it back. Okay, so this is where you change. So that is the not. Not simply means that you negate a value. Okay, so if you are true and I negate you, you become false. And then you can use the same sign, and this sign is the bitwise sign. This one, this is what called bitwise. And you check on your keyboard, you see
Which
the
sign?
bitwise one. I'm
You are
saying
saying the
that
bit.
I'm saying that this is not, this is the logical operation. So we have the arithmetic operation, and we have logical operation. Arithmetic operations are addition, subtraction, multiplication. These are the signs. The one that I showed you before. Okay, that those were arithmetic operations. And when you talk about arithmetics, I believe you understand arithmetic. Simply means that we want to what, use them for calculations, okay, for that summation or whatever. That is arithmetic. And then we have what we call logical operation. So logical operation deal with logics, where you add intelligence to your program. In logical operation, I can combine two conditions at the same time. Okay, so we use this one. This one that you see. This is end. Okay, so end here that you have here is logical. So let me put here. I have logical. This one end. Okay, end, or not. These are logical operation. Okay, and we use this logical operation to combine two words or more conditions. Okay, so conditional statements, we use this one for conditional statements. So conditional statements are this: the less than, greater than, less or equal to. Okay, these ones are called conditional signs. Okay, so we use this one for conditional sign. So these are conditional sign. That is, you are checking for a condition. So this is called conditional operation. Okay, so in order to combine two conditions, okay, you could say that if maybe let's use voting. If a child is 18, let's say a child is 18 years, and not maybe a minor, then I hope you get it. Then he can maybe vote. Okay, this means that you are going to check two conditions. So we use the if operation, like say if maybe I've already assigned a variable called, let's say, age. Okay, so age, I've assigned something like 18. Okay, and then I'll come here and then you use the condition and say that if, so you use the if clause comes with condition, if statement comes with condition, as yesterday we talked about. Okay, so if maybe age is less or equal to, let's say, 18. Okay, less or equal to 18. So it means that if a child is less or, okay, let me say that if a child can voting, will it be less or equal to? So age is this, less or equal to 18, because that age is 18. So if age is less or equal to 18, and it means that here you can bring another condition, and age is like is no, maybe not. So if you look like age, then I bring another condition, age not means that not 17. Okay, in that case you are just giving I'm just giving another example. So it means that you are combining two conditions. So to check for the first condition and check for the second condition. So what will happen is that the two conditions must be true. So if this one is true and this one is true, then it will allow any statement within to work. Okay, if one of them, so if for instance here, let me still put age here for the purpose of it to run. Okay, so if one of them, I'm just using or, so or means that at least one condition, okay, must be true. So if this one is true and this one is false, okay, it means that the statement will work. So at least you only need one condition must be what? True, before the statement will what? Will move to the next stage. Okay, so that's what it means. Okay, and I'm saying that this one that you see here, the end operation, like this one, the end here, another one that you can use for end is this one, the same sign. So end, and then end, like here, this one, and this end here, it is same as this. This one means that if you are comparing two conditions, both conditions must be true before the statement will be true. And this one is called bitwise operation. And then N here is called logical operation. But you could use any. Okay. And the same time, the or. So if I'm using this one, this is or. So this is logical operation. Or I want to use a bitwise operation, which is this. So this is a bitwise operation. So this one means that at least one condition must be true before the statement can what? Be executed. And to negate negate means that not. So this not means that when a statement is, maybe a condition is true or something is true, I can change it to false. Or we can use the bitwise one, which is this sign. Okay, this also means not. Okay, so that's basically what we are talking about. When you have this one, as you can see here, this is not, but this is not word. The one in bracket is what we call a bitwise operation. So we are saying the bitwise Boolean operation on integers. Okay, that is to say that Python treats each word corresponding pairs of bits within two integers as what Boolean. So everything that you see here is treated as Boolean. This true or false. It means that the condition here must be true or false before any statement works. Okay, and that is what Boolean. Okay, and we are dealing with what integer as well. Okay, so like what I just did here, if I come down and I say bitwise operation this, and I use the word true. Okay, this is the bitwise operation value. Okay, sorry, this is the bitwise operation value. Okay, that we are talking about. So instead of me maybe using the normal one, I can use the bitwise operation here to differentiate that. Okay, so that is what we call the bitwise operation. So if you have the other one here, which is this one, is the bitwise operation. So this bitwise operation is the same as that. And then we have the other one here, which is not, s not. That is, we're talking about the or. Okay, so not here is another. Okay, so that is the different thing that we have to know. And then we have the left. So when you see a left is the logical, and then two ampersand sign, as you can see here, the left hand sign here, it also tells you that it's left. And then this one is also tells you that it's right. Okay, so these are the two signs. So sometimes you could see that some program, you could see this one. Okay, you could see the not showing, the other one you cannot see the not showing. Okay, so anyhow you work with it, it means the same thing. Okay, so if you see this one or you see this one, just the difference is that this one is what, a bitwise operation for Boolean, and this one is a logical operation for Boolean. Okay, and we've already talked about the not. The not type simply means what, when something does not exist in Python, we use the not type, and we are saying not type represents what, now. Now means that does not exist. So now object means that does not. So instead of maybe other database, you can see this by Python, we use what, now. Okay, so one thing that I want us to take note that we are saying that there is only one now object in the Python what, environment. Okay, and all references to none using the same word instance. Okay, so whatever that you are going to do, the thing does not exist, it's still the same now that you use. It does not change. Okay, so anything that you are dealing within Python ecosystem, now is still what, now. Okay, and one thing is we can also test the equality test with now. Okay, so usually we replace by what, an identity test like this. Okay, so you can say if you want to check the equality test, you can say available. So variable is na. So if you want to check that the variable that is na, rather than saying that the variable assigned equal to na. Okay, so that is one thing that we have to look at. Okay, and so with this in mind, at least we have what a na object is, and then what and how we can use it. Okay, so we know that anything which does not exist, we can represent that thing with a na. Okay, then we also look at here, we are saying that na is not what a callable. Okay, I believe now you know a callable. When you talk about callable, what are callables? What we've done so far. When you use the word callable,
and can be changed.
Callable. Yeah. What are they? Callables. So the callables are what I told you about the hints, because you can assign it to another variable. Okay, or you can change from one state to another. So those are callable. Okay, so you can see that we have integer. So here, these are what int. This one, we have floats. Okay, we have we have the what do you call the list, and then the dictionary. I think we've not done dictionary and stuff. Okay, so we will get into that next time. So these are callable tuple. We've not done tuple, so let's say set. We've not also done set. Okay, so these are callables. Okay, because here you can change to one state, and then let's say boom. Okay, but this none is not what a callable. So we are saying that none is not a callable, and so cannot use as well a conversion function. What a conversion to convert other data to what none. So none is considered to have what a Boolean value of false. So why is it that why we say none is considered to have a Boolean value false?